You see what looks like, I don't know, an old wooden cabinet. Sturdy, unassuming. But then, surprise, it's not for storage. It's actually a washing machine.
Oh, what?
Yeah. And get this, it's from 1954. And it works entirely by hand power. No electricity needed.
Incredible. Just human effort.
Exactly. So today we're doing a deep dive into this really fascinating piece of household history. It's a hand crank washing machine from mid-century Czechoslovakia. Our mission really is to unpack its, ingenious design, the surprising economics around it back then, and also the incredible restoration process someone went through to bring one back to life.
Sounds great.
We want to see what it tells us about innovation, and just daily life in the 1950s.
And where does this info come from?
Ah, right. It all comes from this amazing detailed video. It documented the full restoration of one specific machine, so we get this fantastic up-close look at the mechanics, the materials, the whole repair process, real artistry involved.
Got it. So a visual guide, essentially.
Exactly. Okay, so let's unpack the machine itself. This thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't for the faint of heart, right? You needed some serious arm workouts.
Oh, definitely.
It looks like a cabinet, like we said, but it's a fully functional washer, and it even has a spin dry feature. What strikes you first about that design?
What's really fascinating is how simple it seems, yet how clever the mechanics are underneath. I mean, it was designed to do the job, wash clothes, get the water out using nothing but muscle. It really represents a foundational step in home appliances. Even though it's basic by our standards, it set down the core ideas. Mechanical washing, dewatering, stuff that later machines just automated.
Right. So visually, it's this cabinet thing, and the two main jobs. Washing, spin drying.
That's it.
Okay, so how did the washing part actually work? Was it just like swirling clothes around in a tub?
No, it was a bit more sophisticated than that, actually.
Yeah.
For washing, you turn this hand crank, and that crank connects to a gear system, which turns a disc inside the drum. And that disc really agitates the clothes in water. Cleans them pretty effectively, apparently. The principle is kind of like a bicycle. How pedaling turns the wheels. Here, cranking moves the water and clothes.
Ah, okay, I can picture that. Power transmission, simple gears doing the work.
Exactly.
So washing is sorted. What about getting the water out? That spin dry feature sounds intriguing for a manual machine. Was that hand-powered too?
Oh yeah, completely. They built in this really innovative dewatering system for the time. It used two wooden roller shafts.
Wooden rollers?
Yeah. Think of it like a rolling pin principle. You'd feed the clothes between the rollers, crank again, and it would physically squeeze the water out.
Wow. Like an old-fashioned mangle, sort of?
Precisely. It's a really creative design, especially considering the resources available.
Yeah.
But it wasn't fast.
I bet.
The washing part alone, they estimated, took about an hour. And how well it worked really depended on, and this is a quote, the user's endurance and food intake.
Huh.
Seriously, endurance and food intake. That tells you everything. A proper workout.
Definitely.
Man, that hour of hand cranking, it really puts our modern push-button machines in perspective, doesn't it?
It really does.
So, okay, this machine isn't just old tech. You called it a time capsule. Where did it actually come from, and what was it worth back in 1954? Because it sounds like it wasn't exactly commonplace.
Right. So, connecting it to the bigger picture, this model was made in 1954 in Czechoslovakia. The maker was a state-owned company called CZECH. They made all sorts of industrial goods. And yeah, despite being manual, despite looking maybe a bit basic to us now, the price tag was, pretty extraordinary for the era.
How much are we talking?
The original price was 140 Czechoslovak koruna. Now that translated to about $88 at the time.
$88 in 1954. That sounds like quite a bit. It was huge. You have to think about average wages then. $88 might have been, I don't know, several months' wages for some people. It was genuinely described as unimaginable for many. People often had to buy them on installment plans or save up for ages. So yeah, it was definitely classed as an expensive luxury item.
Wow. That's fascinating, especially when you mentioned the outside was just, wooden boards and composite wood boards.
Exactly.
Which were apparently common and low-cost materials back then, stuff made from wood fibers, plant fibers, glue. So if the shell was cheap, that makes the high price even more striking.
Yeah.
What drove the cost up so much?
That's the key question, isn't it? It really speaks volumes about how much people valued any device, even a manual one, that could ease the back-breaking labor of housework back then. It wasn't just the materials of the casing. It was the engineering inside, the gears, the rollers, the relative complexity of making those parts work together. And just the sheer novelty, I suppose, of having a dedicated machine for washing. that's what you were paying for.
The mechanism itself and the promise of saving labor.
Precisely.
So given those constraints, 1950s materials and tech, how did they make it last? What else did they find when they took this thing apart for the restoration?
Well, this brings up the whole question of durability back then, right? Well, what were they actually using inside?
Yeah.
The restoration showed the inner drum, for instance, was made of galvanized cast iron.
Okay, so cast iron coated in zinc.
Yeah, exactly, to stop it rusting. And apparently, the other metal parts, the gears and supports and things, were noticeably thick, really robust. They clearly intended it to last. And they used zinc plating elsewhere, too, which was, standard anti-rust practice for the time.
Makes sense.
And things like the drain pipe. Well, PVC wasn't really a big thing yet, so it had a rubber drain pipe, totally typical for the period. Every choice kind of reflects what they had available, but the goal was definitely a durable, functional machine.
That focus on durability, it ties right back to the source for this deep dive, doesn't it? That restoration video.
It does.
So what did that process, bringing this specific machine back to working order, actually reveal about how it was built, or maybe the challenges of fixing these old things?
Yeah, that's where you really see the artistry of repair, as you put it earlier. The restoration really highlighted just how robust many of those original bits were. You see the thick metal, the quality of the gears. It was built to be repairable, which is quite interesting in itself.
Unlike a lot of stuff today.
Oh, quite. The main challenges in the restoration weren't usually the core mechanics failing. It was more the organic materials degrading over, 70 years. Things like the wooden casing needing repair or the rubber parts becoming brittle.
Right, stuff that just doesn't last forever.
Exactly. So it was a really painstaking process you saw in the video. Cleaning everything, re-greasing gears, sometimes carefully making replacement parts using the same kinds of techniques, maybe even custom machining something small to fit just right. It really showed a different relationship with objects, I think. One where repair, longevity, it felt like it was part of the original design thinking, not just an afterthought.
What an incredible journey then with this 1954 hand crank washer.
Right.
Just tracing it from its, clever manual operation, its surprisingly high cost back then, making it a luxury item, all the way to seeing it meticulously brought back to life. It's a real window into mid-century ingenuity.
It really is, and it's a testament to how practical needs drive innovation, right? Even when the technology is limited. The thinking behind details like that rolling pin dewatering system, it's clever. And seeing the care put into the restoration, it just highlights that different way of valuing objects you repair, you maintain, you keep them going. Something we've maybe lost a bit today.
Definitely. And just thinking about the sheer physical effort, cranking that thing for an hour, compared to just tossing clothes in a machine and pressing start, it really makes you appreciate the convenience we have now.
Oh, absolutely. The leaps in technology have been huge.
And how fast it all happened, really.
But this machine, as simple as it looks to us, it really embodies that idea that great inventions often start from small inventions.
Yeah.
It was a necessary step. It pushed the boundaries of what people thought was possible for home appliances back then. And that's a fascinating thought.
And also, what are the small inventions happening right now, maybe unnoticed, that could be laying the groundwork for the really great inventions of tomorrow?